Hey everybody, it's Mr. Pulgarin, and I want to welcome you to this live stream. Today we're going to be talking about the growing calls for independence. And before I start, though, I want to let you know that tonight there is going to be, I have a shirt from Fiveable that I will be giving away to a participant from the stream. So anybody that hangs in there with me this entire hour and participates in the chat, I have some free Fiveable shirt and I have some swag. So I'll be mailing that out. I'll ask you for your email at the end of this. But first, let me start off. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys give me a thumbs up? All right, Matthew, welcome. Welcome to the chat. Janet, hey, welcome back, Janet. Crystal, Karen, Daniela Estrada. I sent you an email the other day. You didn't respond. Jocelyn. All right, guys. Thank you so much, Jocelyn. Thank you guys all for being here. I know that you guys are from Miss Kim's class at Bright Star Secondary Charter Academy out in Los Angeles. So I want to give you guys a huge shout out. Chuck, I want to give you a shout out as well. Hannah, I know I see Hannah on there in the chat. Well, Hannah is from Texas there. And Hannah, thank you so much for always being on the chat and for always being coming on the chats. Today to basically talk. So one, is this your first stream? 6 of you guys said no. Have you started period 3 in your classes? Period 3 is like the era that we're going to cover today. Starts off with the American Revolution. And finally, do you follow Fiveable on Twitter or Instagram? And if you don't, you need to. All right. Well, let me get started here. All right. Now, before we start, I will do a little plug for Think Fiveable. I can't tell you guys how amazing it is to have these free streams for all students, regardless of where you live, regardless of whether or not this is your first AP class. Think Fiveable makes it free for you guys. It makes it interactive, and you can watch some of the replays as well. You can follow Think Fiveable on Twitter, on Instagram, or on YouTube. All right, so I know today we had a long day. And I always love to start off with this question because I want to know how you guys are feeling in the chat. So let's do this. If you had to put two emojis about how you're feeling today, what would those emojis be? So how are you feeling today? What 2 emojis describe how you're feeling? And I'll give everybody a chance there. I put mine in the chat there. There with some clouds. Because here we're all right. Awesome. Jocelyn, Crystal, all right. Jocelyn's tired. Hannah. Hannah, I did see your tweet that you were seeing that the College Board there was giving you guys not enough sleep. You guys, how many of you guys feel like you get enough sleep as a junior here? Jasmine, sleepy. Daniela, you're not happy. Matt, how many of you guys feel you don't get enough sleep? All right, guys. Well, never. All right. What is everybody's bedtime? My bedtime is actually, I'm going to put my bedtime there. 2 a.m. Oh, man, Matthew, there's no way. Crystal, sometimes 5. Hannah, how do you do it? How many of you guys drink coffee then? All right, because if you're staying up this late, you got to drink some coffee. Jocelyn, 11. Okay, so coffee. Now I'm not trying to endorse coffee, but it is a great way to help you stay awake in the mornings and to start your day. There you go, Jocelyn. You got it. All right. All right, chai. Good. Well, so I know you guys are really tired, but I'm so happy that you guys are joining me. I'm just so glad that you guys are giving up your Tuesdays to be with me. And if you've come back on the chat, I'm sorry, on the live stream with me, it means even more to me. So thank you guys. I hope today I'm going to make it worthwhile. I do have some swag to give away. I have some stuff. All right, Jocelyn, thank you for your honesty there. I do have some stuff to give away, so I definitely want to have great participation from you guys. And before we start, I love to do this. I want to do something called mental diarrhea. Everything that you know about the causes, because I know you guys have taken American history courses before. You learned about it and you know stuff. And so I don't want to just start this live stream like you've never heard of the American Revolution or what caused it. And so here's what I want to do. Oh, Matthew, already. All right. So I want to do this mental diarrhea where don't put it on the chat yet. Wait, Karen, don't put it on the chat. I'm going to give everybody 30 seconds to just write as much stuff as you know. When I say post it, then you guys are going to submit it. Okay? So mental diarrhea, 30 seconds of everything that you know about the causes of the American Revolution, any word, any name, anything. You guys already put some stuff there. Or anything you know about the American Revolution. You guys ready? 30 seconds. I'm going to, wait. Sorry, not yet. Hey, don't cheat. Hannah, I see you cheating. Don't do it. All right, 30 seconds, ready, go. $15 seconds. Oh, Jocelyn, you beat everybody to it there. All right. So let's see some of the stuff that you guys put there. Jocelyn, the acts, the Stamp Act and Tolerable Acts. Perfect. We're going to talk about that today. The Olive Branch Petition, the Battles of Lexington. Hannah, the end of salutary neglect. The Proclamation of 1763. Samuel Adams, Sons of Liberty. The Gatsby Affair. The Circular Letter. Good job. Annie, Annie, welcome. The Britain Tyranny, the Tax, the Boston Massacre. Matthew, the Quartering Act. Jasmine, no representation in government, or the phrase no representation, no taxation without representation. Crystal, hello, Crystal. Tax Acts, breaking away from Britain. Janet, Stamp Act, Coercive Acts. Good job. All right, that's a good one. The Desire for Freedom, the French and Indian War, First Continental Congress. The Proclamation Act. The Boston Massacre, the Townsend Acts. What are we on? Hello. We are learning today about the American Revolution, period 3. We're talking about taxes here. Justine has taxes were significant causes of the war and representation in government. Perfect. All right. So the goal for today, and I always want to talk about this, that when you watch these chats, these live streams, it's best if you take notes, and you take notes as you go along with key ideas, and then you can go back to your notes when you're studying or whenever you have an exam in the class. I've seen students that have gotten a 4 or 5 on the exam, and basically their studying was all the notes that they took. So it's so good to go back and have these notes later on when you start studying for the AP exam right around March. And I'm going to be here with you guys, helping you guys out, because I know all you guys on the stream are going to pass this exam. All right. So today we're not going to go over this exactly, but I want to tell you that we are talking about Standard 3.1, the American Revolution. We're going to be talking about a little bit about the 7 Years' War, or the French and Indian War, and how that influenced America and its allies. And then we're also, this stream is going to cover the colonial independence movements. We're not going to get into the American Revolution. We're going to talk about all the things that led up to it. And I just want you to know that this is AP Standard 3.1 and 3.2. So today you guys are, if you haven't covered this, or you have, you're reviewing, or you're getting ahead. All right, so today we are going to be talking about the effects of the French and Indian War from 1754 to 1763. And then we're going to look at the growing calls for independence, and we're going to use something called PERSIA. PERSIA is an acronym that stands for political, economic, religious, social, intellectual, and area. And so we're going to look at the growing calls for independence through each of these lenses. And so if you want, if you're taking notes, I would definitely write down the word Persia. It's going to help you understand and remember this information about the growing calls for independence. So far in AP, if you are on period 3, that means you've covered about 25% of the information that's on the exam, which is tremendous because we're only towards the end of September. So period 1 is 5%, period 2 is 10%, period 3 is 12%. So this is definitely a significant period. And as long as you keep studying and you're getting good scores on your exams and you have your notes, you've already learned 25% of the material in AP US history. So way to go. Is anybody already, let me ask in the chat, is anybody on period 4 yet? Thumbs up if you're on period 4, thumbs down if you're not. Okay. All right, Diana. British Palmer? No? All right, good. So today we are going to start off with an overview of the French and Indian War. Now, we know that, all right, Karen, thank you guys. So hopefully this will be helpful for you guys. Period 3 is where you guys are. Even if you're not there, this is still great information for you. So period 3 starts in 1754, and AP US history, they love to start with these dates. They don't just start like 1780 or something, because they always start with these dates because they're significant. 1754 is the start of the French and Indian War. This war is going to fund between and the colonies. So this is why it starts in 1754. This stream is going to end in 1781. Now, period 3 ends in 1800, but this stream is only going to go up to 1781 because this is the year that the British surrendered to Yorktown. The British surrendered at Yorktown, Virginia. And after they surrender, then you have a lot of other issues that come up, what kind of government they're going to form, the Articles of Confederation, and all these things. But for the purposes of today's stream, we're going to talk about 1754, which is the start of the French and Indian War, and 1781, which is when Cornwallis surrenders in Yorktown. So one of the things that you have to understand before we even start is that the French and Indian War was a war that was going on all over Europe and other parts of the world. And it came to North America because the French and the English were rivals everywhere. And so they were fighting for control of North America. So in 1754, if you look at this map right here, on the left side, the British colonies are here in the. Hey, can you guys see the mouse? Sorry, I'm moving the mouse around, but can you guys see that? No? Ah, sorry, guys. Can you see it now? Okay. So in 1754. We have the British American colonies here. We have 13 original colonies. The green part is claimed by Spain, and this yellow part is owned by France. And so obviously this French and Indian War, this is for control of this disputed territory here between France and England. Well, the British are going to win. The British are going to win the French and Indian War. The Indians fight on the side of the French, but nevertheless, the British, with the help of the colonists, they win this war. And this is what the land looks like after the war is over. As you can see, now France is almost completely eliminated from North America there. And now we just have England almost double its size of land. Now we have not only 13 colonies, but we have all this land. Now, I saw that one of the things that you guys knew was this proclamation line of 1763. So one of the things is right here is the Appalachian Mountains. And these Appalachian Mountains, the British did not want the colonists to start going west of these Appalachian Mountains because there were Native Americans there. And they knew that if they went there, they would start conflicts with them. So they passed this proclamation line of 1763, which basically said they couldn't travel west of this proclamation line. Obviously, this is going to anger the colonists. It's another restriction, but this is something that you guys brought up. Correct. The British had the support from the Iroquois, though. Correct. So the Native Americans, they were split. So the effects of the French and Indian War, one, it ends the British policy of salutary neglect. Now, real quick, what is the policy of salutary neglect? This is a key term that comes up all the time in AP US history, but what is the policy of salutary neglect? All right, hey, we got a lot of people in the chat. Thank you guys so much. Matthew. British stay away from the colonies when British doesn't interfere. Okay, the idea was that Britain is all the way over there in Europe, and the colonies are about 3,000 miles away across an ocean. And because they're so far, the only way you could travel back then was through boat, which would take 2 to 3 months. And so because they were so far away, just like Jocelyn said, salutary neglect is when the British government didn't place strict control on the colonies, correct? And so they didn't control the day-to-day of the colonies because they were so far away. And because they were so far away, because they were so far away, they could not manage the day-to-day affairs. But after the French and Indian War, the British say, nope, we're going to take a much more hands-on approach, and we're going to kind of get control of the colonies. And this is going to bother the colonists. Imagine for you if all of a sudden your parents are like, hey, you can go out every night and you can stay out as late as you want, and you start going out, you have some friends, and all this stuff. And then one day they say, okay, you can't do that anymore. You have to be home at 9 and you have to go to bed at 9. And that restriction, it's like, yeah, they have the power over you, but that's going to bother you because you had this freedom. And this is what happens to the colonies. Correct. Amani, thank you for putting that. Parliamentary sovereignty. Good. Guys, this chat, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Another effect was what we just talked about. The Proclamation of 1763 was this line that basically said that the colonists could not move west of the Proclamation or the Proclamation line, which limited them to the east side of the colonies where they were all already settled. And then one of the most significant parts was that the British wanted to tax the colonists to pay for the war. They said, hey, wars are expensive. You should pay for it. And how should you pay for it? What do you guys think? How are they going to make these colonists pay for this? Justine. All right, guys, you guys are so awesome. Thank you. Taxes, 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 taxes. And they're going to come up, Jasmine, good, Diana. They're going to come up with all these different things about how they can charge the colonists. So going back, this is what the boundary looked like after the French and Indian War in 1763. These were the effects. It ended salutary neglect, the Proclamation line of 1763, and now they're going to charge taxes. So now we're going to start looking at the growing calls for independence, and we're going to look using the acronym PERSIA. Real quick, thumbs up. How are you guys feeling in the chat? Am I going too fast? Am I going too slow? Are you asleep? Matthew, are you asleep over there? All right, Justine, Hannah, Jocelyn, Matt. Oh, wow, Matt, good job. You're not asleep. All right, Amani, Matt. All right, thank you guys so much. Jasmine. All right, so let's look at, we saw the effects of the French and Indian War. Let's look at what happens politically that starts to push the colonists towards the American Revolution. Well, there are 4 things. Now, there are way more than 4 things, but these are the 4 things that you can use as evidence in the AP exam. So one is that the colonists begin to unite politically. One of the examples is the Stamp Act Congress. They come together in 1765. And in 1765, they come together, they're mad about the Stamp Act, and they issue a Declaration of Rights and Grievances, which stated that Parliament lacked the power to impose taxes on the colonies. Now, why is this significant? Is because this shows that the colonists are not happy with what England is doing, and that they're willing to come together and petition for their rights. And so the Stamp Act Congress of 1765 is a great example of how the first attempts of the colonists to come together. Another attempt, which somebody brought up in the mental diarrhea portion of this stream, was the First Continental Congress. And the First Continental Congress in 1774, again, the colonists are getting upset with all that's happening. They meet in Philadelphia. 56 delegates meet from the different colonies. They send these delegates there, and they talk about, they draw up a declaration of colonial rights. And the delegates argue that they're arguing for the policy of salutary neglect, saying, hey, we have the right to run our own affairs. This control that Britain has is not good for us. And so the Stamp Act Congress is 1765, almost 10 years before that, but already they're coming together. The First Continental Congress, 56 delegates meet. Then they meet again because the conditions don't improve. So in 1775, they have the Second Continental Congress. They convene in Philadelphia with 12 of the 13 states, although later on all 13 states are going to be represented. They appoint George Washington, commander of the Continental Army, and they decide that they have no choice but to issue the Declaration of Independence. So the Second Continental Congress takes this idea from we're just petitioning to change things to now we are declaring our independence. And another political event that happens is the Declaration of Independence. The Second Continental Congress appoints a commission to prepare a formal declaration. It includes Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin, and Roger Sherman, and they write this document, one of the most beautiful documents in American history, called the Declaration of Independence. All right, real quick. What 4 examples did we just talk about? What political examples did we just talk about? You're right, Zoe. The Olive Branch petition was the last straw. After the Olive Branch petition failed, the Second Continental Congress realized that they had no choice. The king, when he saw the Olive Branch petition, he laughed at it. He's like, who do these people think they are? And after that, the colonists said, this guy's not going to listen to us. He's not going to read our petitions. We need a revolution. About the 4 political calls for independence. What were 4 examples we shared? Even if you just know one, go ahead and say one. All right, the Stamp Act Congress, Declaration of Independence, the First Continental, Second Continental Congress, perfect. And so if in the AP, if they ask you for some political examples of the growing calls for independence, any of these are great pieces of evidence, okay? The Declaration of Independence, you have to make it fit a little bit, but it's a great piece of evidence. All right, awesome, Jocelyn. Thank you, Justine, excellent. Now we're going to talk about the economic reasons. We just talked about the political pushes towards independence. Now let's look at the economic reasons. Now, one of the economic reasons was this theory of mercantilism. The theory of mercantilism holds that a country's ultimate goal was self-sufficiency and that all countries were in competition to acquire the most gold and silver. So basically, all these countries that are starting these colonies, correct, and I'm going to talk about that in a sec, the Navigation Acts, that they were in competition with each other, that the colonies should feed into them. So imagine this. I want to give you an example. Now, I don't have any kids, but imagine if I said, all right, I'm going to have 5 kids, and the reason I want 5 kids is so they all have to work and they pay me money. Every one of them is going to give me $200. And so I'm looking at my kids as like a way to make money. Well, this is the way the theory of mercantilism works. The Great Britain looked at the colonies as a source of money. They weren't looking at them as independent sources of like independent way and their own independent colonies. They're looking at them like, these are my kids and they're going to feed me. Now, I want to show you this picture real quick. The idea of mercantilism is that the mother country, in this sense, England, wanted to fill up, get as much gold and silver as possible. And so the idea is that you're exporting more than you're importing. That means that you're bringing in more, you're selling more than you're, sorry about that, guys. The more exports, that means you're sending more out than you're buying. And if you do that, you're going to have more money. Like think about every month, if you get paid $300, but you're spending $400, you're going to be in a debt. Well, in mercantilism, the idea is to spend less money than you're bringing in, so you have a little bit more in your pockets. And this cycle of the mother country sends manufactured goods to the colonies, and the colonies send gold and silver back. Now, I want to show you a political cartoon. And this political cartoon was actually in the AP exam a few years ago. I don't remember which one, but I've seen it. And it's this one. Now, this is a political cartoon where they would say, discuss this cartoon. And now, how do you get points? If you were an AP student and they showed you this and you say, well, there's the mother country and they have gold and silver. The mother country is England, correct, Zoe? But what is this picture showing? It's showing mercantilism. The idea, kind of, Matt, that's a good one. It's kind of related to that. But this one is actually showing the theory of mercantilism, where the mother country is basically choosing from the colonies. The colonies are like the servants there, and they're there to serve the mother country. And they have these trays. You see the trays there, and they're basically saying, like, what do you want? And the hand of the mother country, and she has it kind of over her chest, like, oh, like, I don't know which one I want, is the idea that she's in control. She decides, and these are her servants. And so in this picture, it's their duty to serve them. This picture shows the theory of mercantilism. So if you saw this on the AP exam and you brought in that word mercantilism, boom, you got those points, okay? So you want to get away in the AP from just talking about, oh, this is a colony and this is gold and silver. If it's already labeled in the picture and you're just describing it, it's going to be hard to get those points. What the AP exam is looking for is, what is this showing? What's that key vocabulary word? And that's where, if you bring in mercantilism, that's where you get those points, okay? I've had students in the past where I've showed them this picture and they describe it. Oh, they have a mother country and the colony, they have gold, silver, and they just describe everything that's in the picture. That's great, but you have to bring in those words. All right, Matt, you have a great question. Were the colonies required to buy products manufactured from the mother country? In a way, yes, because the idea was that they were coexisting. They would send things there. They didn't have the machinery or the way to put it together, and the mother country would sell it back. And this is how they existed, the symbiotic relationship. So yeah, and we're going to get a little bit into that once we get into the Navigation Acts. So the Navigation Acts, actually, before I start, guys, how are you guys doing? Thumbs up? Still with me? All right, Jocelyn, Cindy, welcome, Cindy. Matt, thank you. All right, guys, thank you so much for being with me tonight. I promise Jocelyn, you're tired there. All right, Jocelyn, I hear you. All right, as long as Matt's not falling asleep, I think Matt didn't even answer the question. Oh, there he is at the top. All right. Well, Hannah, how are you doing? All right, Hannah, thumbs up. Annie, thumbs up. Danielle Estrada, a little late there, but hey, thumbs up. That matters to me. All right. So the Navigation Acts. The idea was that the colonies, they were living under the policy of salutary neglect, so they weren't being controlled. And because they weren't being controlled, there was kind of like a lot of shady things going on. So England says, we need to get control of this, and we need to make sure that we enforce mercantilism through the Navigation Acts. And so they passed this series of this law in 1651, where it says no country could trade with the colonies unless the goods were shipped in either a colonial or English ship. Why? Because that means they're collecting money. Then they say all vessels had to be operated by the crews that were 3/4 English or colonial. So you can't just have a British ship and have everybody be from France. They want you to use the people from your country to work on the ship. And then the colonies could export certain goods only to England. That means they could not just trade with whoever they wanted to. And lastly, all goods traded between the colonies and Europe first had to pass through English ports. And so this is a way for England to control the flow of money and of materials into England. But the colonists are not going to like this. And they're going to do some things behind England's back. They're going to start trading with other countries. And because they trade with other countries and sell their goods to other countries, they are in violation of the Navigation Acts. And so this is a conflict that rises up very early on. Now, this is a document that I've also shown you, economic reasons of how the British tried to force the colonists to essentially raise revenue. So real quick, the Sugar Act of 1764, the Quartering Act, the Stamp Act, the Townshend Act, and the Tea Act. all these acts were passed essentially as small taxes to raise revenue. So if we go back to the economic causes of independence, we can talk about mercantilism, the theory of mercantilism, and how the colonists were supposed to live for the mother country. The Navigation Acts, which were designed to enforce mercantilism, and then these acts that were passed, the economic impact of these acts to raise revenue. All right, so those were the economic reasons. Now let's look at the religious reasons. Now, we have this thing called the Great Awakening. Oh, that is British. That is a great question. I'll try to get that together to send it out to you guys. And there is, I will share that later on. I'll put my email at the end. If you send me an email, then you can send it to me. Zoe, if you find it and you put a link on here, that would be awesome. That way, British can get a hold of it. Now, we have this religious movement called the Great Awakening. So let's go back here. We talked about the political, the economic, and now let's talk about the religious. Well, the Great Awakening is this religious movement that sweeps the colonies through the 1720s and the 1740s. Hannah, you're right there. It was these preachers like George Whitefield and Jonathan Edwards. They come out to the people. Before the church, you had to go to church and it was very formal. And now these preachers are coming out to the people. And they're saying, they're preaching something where all of us can be, all of us can be saved. He doesn't care if you're the queen. He doesn't care if you're a peasant. All of us are the same. Now, this is going to be a big problem, because if you're saying that the peasant is the same as a king, this is going to be an issue for the King of England. And so now people are hearing this message and saying, yeah, you know what? Maybe I am the same. Maybe the king isn't better than I am. Maybe the queen isn't better than I am. And we're all the same in God's eyes. And so people begin to question the authority of the church. Hannah brought up the sinners in the hands of an angry God. It's a document that I've seen in the AP by Jonathan Edwards. Is a sermon where he talks about how to get people to come back to God. And the sermons, if you look at this picture, it's a guy on the street preaching, and it was based on emotion over reason, and they were amazing preachers, and they converted a lot of people. But more importantly, if I can get you, they planted that one seed that said, hey, maybe the king is not better than I am. Maybe we're all equal in God's eyes. And that's the seed that's going to lead to this American Revolution. Now, one of the seeds that's going to lead to this. Okay. Now, the Great Awakening, I'll just review here. The Great Awakening occurred from the 1720s to 1740s. That included gatherings that replaced rational and intellectual sermons with the emotional salvation experience. It's important because it gave the colonists a sense of worth, saying, hey, maybe we're the same as England. Maybe the king's not better than us. And how did the colonists react? Many of them began going to church, and church attendance increased. And just like Hannah brought up, two of the most famous preachers were Jonathan Edwards and George Whitefield. All right. So, sorry guys, got to get some hydration there. I've been talking a lot, but you guys have been awesome, and I truly appreciate you guys being on here. And I want to see if usually I bring Hannah on the stream, but I want to see if Daniela Estrada, if you want to come on the stream, I got a few questions for you. Can win $1 million. If not, it's all right. Maybe Matt will do it. Daniela. All right. Yeah, it's fine if you guys both come in. I'll call you guys in a little bit, and then we'll kind of discuss. We'll do a little question and answer there. All right. And Hannah, I know you always participate, so I'm so grateful for you. And remember, I'm giving away a shirt today to the person that participates the most. And that's aside because I owe Hannah like 50,000 gifts already. All right. So, all right. So we talked about the political, economic, religious, and now we're going to talk about the social. So what is, well, you're awesome, Hannah. Now, and Cindy, thank you for joining us, Zoe, Matt. So socially, what was going on as in the colonies that was leading towards independence? Well, one of the examples that was going on is this event called the Boston Massacre, which happens in 1770. Now, the British troops and the British and the colonists are basically competing for jobs. And the colonists are upset because they don't want to compete against the British. And they start protesting, and one night they start throwing rocks at these soldiers, and 5 colonists are in this meeting. I mean, it's a mess. They're just throwing snowballs and rocks. And the British decide to fire on the colonists, and they kill 5 of them. One of them is this African-American named Crispus Attucks. And since there are no cameras, we don't have our little cameras to take pictures and videos. The only way to spread the word is through engravings. And Paul Revere creates this picture called the Bloody Massacre, and it's used as anti-British propaganda. That means this picture is going around. If you look at it, here are all the colonists. They're just innocent. There's a little dog there, a little poor guy. And the British are firing on these unarmed colonists. So this is not going to look good for the British. Yes, Crispus Attucks was one of the first to die, correct. Jasleen, thank you for joining the stream. So socially, what starts to happen is that pressure starts to build that the British are basically killing unarmed colonists. Another event that happens is the Boston Tea Party of 1773. Well, the British East India Company had been hit hard by the colonial boycotts. The Sons of Liberty, correct. And these Sons of Liberty, or these protesters, they decide, well, we're not going to buy this tea. And a group of Boston rebels disguise themselves as Native Americans, and they dump about 18,000 pounds of tea into Boston Harbor. King George is infuriated with this event, and he passes something called the Intolerable Acts, which means we're not going to tolerate this. He closes down Boston Harbor. He does a series of other things, and he wants the colonists to pay for the tea. This further angers the colonists, and this increases the social tension. So we have 2 events that are increasing this social tension. One is the Boston Massacre. The next one is the Boston Tea Party. And then the third one is this, correct, Hannah. The Intolerable Acts are also called the Coercive Acts. So let me make sure you guys don't get confused, because there's different names for the same thing. All right, there you go. So the colonists, they start to feel like, okay, we want independence. We're not happy with this, but not all of them feel like that. And so socially, there's pressure. There's 3 groups of people that the colonists are basically being sorted into 3 groups. One, patriots like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and Nathaniel Greene, who start to support independence. Next are loyalists like Charles Inglis, Chief Joseph Brant, and Isaac Wilkins, who support, oh, Hannah, you got it. They're called Tories. These loyalists are called Tories. And then there's the fence sitters. The fence sitters are people that kind of sit on either side. They're not taking sides. An example of them are the Quakers, correct, Zoe, because there's pacifists. They didn't want to fight. And many of the pacifists, or many of the fence sitters, decided to leave and go to Canada instead of getting caught up in this mess. So I want you to go think about socially what's happening in the colonists. We have 2 social events, the Boston Massacre and the Boston Tea Party. And we have the colonists splitting themselves into 3 groups: the patriots, the loyalists, and the fence sitters. All right. Thumbs up. How's everybody doing? We got a little bit more, and I'm going to bring in Daniela onto the stream. Guys, I am so grateful for you guys. Thank you so much. Cindy, Crystal, Jaceline, Princeton, Annie, Karen. Thank you guys. All right. I appreciate you guys. Hannah, Abufo, thank you. Okay, now we're going to look at the intellectual things that led up to independence. Now, real quick, who can identify this Enlightenment thinker that came up with these ideas? Oh, Justine. Whoa, good job, Justine. All right. This is John Locke. And John Locke is a famous Enlightenment thinker, and he comes up with many of the ideas that are going to influence this move towards independence. First of all, John Locke is one of the first, and he's from England, ironically, correct? I like that. I like that idea. So you got John Locke basically arguing that all humans should pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That all humans have these natural rights. That you and I have natural rights, and that the purpose of government is to secure these God-given rights, inalienable rights of the people. And so all these ideas, you're going to see them in the Declaration of Independence. These ideas of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. The concept that you and I have natural rights and that no government can take them away. And that the government should protect these natural rights. So John Locke, I like what Hannah said. Ironically, he's from England, and his ideas are going to be used to foment a revolution against England. So very good. Then we have intellectually another document that pops up called Common Sense. Correct, Jaceline. Good job. And Paine is this is a pamphlet that he circulates, and a lot of people begin to read it. Well, Paine begins to push forward the idea that monarchies are an invalid form of government because they violate the natural laws. So what you have to think here is that the intellectual seeds are being planted in the colonists' mind, saying, oh, so you mean colonists, you mean a monarchy isn't the best form of government? We don't have to have a king or queen? And so this begins to plant the seeds in them, okay? The intellectual seeds of independence. Thomas Paine insists that the British government doesn't have the colony's best interests at heart. It only cares about its own profit. So he's arguing this, and colonists are reading this, saying, hey, they only want money. She only wants your money. Oh, wait, sorry. I don't know if that's from a song. Anyway, ignore that. I'll edit it later, and nobody will see it. All right. The tensions between Great Britain and the American colonies only get worse, especially after the battles of Lexington and Concord. And he's saying there's no going back. We already fired shots. Like, who are these people thinking we can still fix things? And so he's saying the only thing is we need a revolution. And then finally, he says a revolution for America is good for every country, especially those that want to trade. So these four arguments put forward by Thomas Paine are circulating in the colonies, and they're resonating with the colonists. So these are the intellectual seeds of the American independence. And finally, we have the Declaration of Independence. We have these ideas plagiarized almost just from John Locke there. Thomas Jefferson and his crew, they write that the reason we want independence is because we have life, liberty, and the pursuit of government, and that governments exist to protect these rights. They argue in the Declaration of Independence that government's power comes from the people, and that's the only way. And that's the only way that they can govern, is the government gets its power from us. If we don't believe in this government, there is no government. And finally, the people have a right to overthrow government when it's not protecting their rights. Zoe, thank you so much. That's great knowledge there, guys. So read the comment there. All right. And now area. We're almost done. And then we're going to bring in Daniela. And Daniela, who's going to come on the stream with you? Correct. The Declaration of Independence, Annie, is also going to be used, these intellectual movements, to get support from France, who is going to be absolutely vital for the colonists winning the American Revolution. Remember, though, this part, though, We're not going to get into the war, but you're absolutely correct, Danny. You're ahead of where I am. So good job. All right, now let's talk about area. So where's all this happening? Again, this is happening in the 13 colonies. All this political, economic, religious, social, and intellectual things are happening here in this 13 colonies. We talked about the 3 colonial regions. We have the New England colonies, the middle colonies, and the southern colonies. And even though they were very different, they began to unite because of their shared disdain for the British. Basically, there were ways of communicating information between them about all the things that the British were doing, and through the committees of correspondence and so on. And so the colonists begin to unite in their areas. Now, if you look at it, they're very far apart. So it's not necessarily like this is easy for them. There are no planes, but the news begins to spread. And I would say most of the spark for the revolution is coming from over here, from New York, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, the middle and the northern, the New England colonies. These are the areas that are really the port of revolution. All right. Okay. So I want to, first of all, give credit to Prince Padina and Studio Divana for correct. Yes. Sorry. Check out Zoe's comment. Zoe, you're bringing in a lot of great knowledge. Jasleen also. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me at Pulgarian1. I have a few followers, but I could definitely use more. I tweet about when these streams are coming up, and I share information, sometimes my thoughts about education, things like that, but it's always fun. And if you follow me, I promise you I'll follow you back. So real quick, I'm going to bring in Daniela into the stream. And so what I'll do is a little live quiz. And hey, guys, it's just for fun. There's no, it's nothing huge. It's just to review, because it's always good to kind of go back and review what you've learned. So, all right, let me see here. All right. I'm inviting him on the, don't be scared. You're scared to come on the live stream. There you are.
All right. No, it's not.
Hey, Daniela.
Hi.
I can barely see you.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm with Kim, Billy, and Chris, I guess.
All right, guys. Well, first, I want to thank you guys so much for joining the live stream. And I'm going to give you a chance to win some free swag. Fiveable swag, all right?
Okay.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you guys some questions. So let me stop this real quick.
It's okay if we get them wrong, right?
You'll lose thousands of dollars, but yes, it's okay.
Yeah.
All right. And you can also get help from the audience, okay?
Okay.
All right. So what was the theory, the economic theory, that said the ultimate goal was self-sufficiency and countries existed for and colonies existed for the benefit of the mother country? What was the answer to that?
Mercantilism.
Mercantilism, you're right. 1,000 points. Good job, guys. All right. 1,000 points there. Hey, guys, you know you're going to be coming out on the Fiveable streams and the replays. So you're going to be famous for a while here. All right, here's another question. What was it? Okay, which political group issued the Declaration of Independence?
What, huh? What
was the political group or organization that we talked about that issued the Declaration of Independence?
Thomas Jefferson and friends. No, stop. Wait, political. The Confederate? No.
No, it's not the Patriots.
Bro, the Patriots, the Patriots.
It starts with the S.
We got it. The political group.
No, it's not the Sons of Liberty, although that's a good guess. And Cindy gave you the answer. Second continental Congress.
Wow.
They issued the Declaration of Independence after seeing that,
We're so bad at this.
trying to reconcile things when King George was not. So you guys lost 5,000 points. Okay.
It's okay. Next question.
So you won 1,000 points and then you lost 5,000 points. So right now you're negative 4,000. Okay.
I don't think that's how it works, mister.
All right, here goes. What was the theory, or what was salutary neglect?
Can we go over that? Oh, yeah. All right, solitary neglect was basically
how the colonists were like governed by like Britain, where they could basically do like whatever. Like they could govern. Yeah,
it was like an honor.
Yeah,
system.
like they could do whatever they want as long as some
Okay.
They like live
The theory is, you're right. You guys are almost right. They were so far away. That the colonies basically governed themselves. That was the theory of salutary neglect. You're way over there. I'm going to give you 300 points for that. That means you're only negative 3,700 points. All right.
We are so bad at this.
What was the name of the act that did not let the colonists go west of the Appalachian Mountains?
the Parliament line. The
Proclamation line of 1763.
I said the Parliament. The
Correct.
Parliament line.
1763. That's 4,000 points. You're finally at zero.
Woo!
All right, good job. You guys are zero. All right.
That is
Got
so
3 more questions for you guys. Why does period 3 start in 1754?
Can you repeat the question?
Why does period 3 of AP US history start in 1754?
Oh, that's the French and Indian War. And
Ended or
wait up. Cause
it began.
it began. All right, you had to get some help from Cindy and Jasmine. So I'm going to go ahead and take off 800 points.
For fun.
So right now you're at negative 800.
I don't know.
Why did I end the stream if 1781?
Huh?
Why did I say the stream ended in 1781?
Oh, the surrender of Yorktown.
Surrender your that's 100 points. Now you're at negative 700.
The lowest source when we get it right. For real.
All right. 2 more questions, guys, and then we are done. Can you name 2 acts, actually 3 acts passed by the British to raise revenue to pay for the debt? The Stamp Act,
The Townshend Act.
the Townsend Act,
Taxes and
The Sugar Act. The court is the Tea Act. The quartering.
the Sugar Act is correct. There was a little bit of disagreement there between you guys, so I'm going to take off 1,000 points.
Tea Act.
The
Sugar Act.
the Intolerable Act.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are negative 1,800 points. Okay,
I'm
this
gonna
is
It was the Townsend Act.
Okay, well, I said that was my accident.
She said
all right. Here goes.
Said 4.
Who were the 2 preachers that we talked about, leaders of the Great Awakening?
George. No, I don't know. It's
George
Whitfield
and Jonathan Edwards or something like that.
That's correct. Well, you messed up a little bit there on the names,
No,
Jonathan Edwards
I
and
think
George
it was a
Whitfield. So you guys lost 700 points.
Oh my god.
Oh, look at your jeans, yeah. You're literally telling your answers.
I did
know.
say George.
Okay,
I said George.
and the final question here: who were the 3? We talked about the social parts of the colonists, and that there were three. They were separated into three parts that either went for the war.
Oh, loyalists,
Patriots,
patriots,
and neutrals.
yeah.
Sorry.
Loyalists, patriots, and nutrients.
Nutrients. And so
Nutrient. That's pretty cool.
no, she's
All right, Zoe gave you the answers. They were called fence sitters. For that one, you guys lost 8,000 points.
Not loyalists.
it is loyalists.
I said
So it's the
Patriots.
Patriots, the Loyalists, and the fence sitters. And the final question here, like right now, you guys are minus 9,500 points.
It's because it's just pressuring, man.
This quiz.
So I want to give you the last question. Who was the Enlightenment thinker that greatly influenced the Declaration of Independence? Intellectual.
John Locke.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's plus 100 points. So you guys are negative 8,100 points. Unfortunately, you guys lost, but you're winners because you guys came to the stream. And guys, I want to thank you guys so much for being part of the stream. I hope you guys join me next week on Fiveable for another opportunity.
Yeah.
Jocelyn, Jasmine, Hannah, my goal is to bring all you guys up on the stream and really get to know you guys as students. So Daniela, bye guys.
Okay, bye. I can't. I don't know how to get off.
All right. So I want to thank you guys for coming. And Pritish, thank you so much for joining. You guys are so awesome. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you for joining me and have a great day. Bye, everybody.